glasses on your knees, and you will see the robins, not the crows. For in a tense and tangled web, our weary lives may weave. You're so much better off if you believe.
Hello, my name is Tehila Caviness. I'm playing June in the musical Chicago.
Yeah, my name is Cruz. I play Amos Hart in the musical Chicago.
My name is Ian Lawrence. I'm in the ensemble, and I play Harrison, the prosecuting attorney in Chicago.
I'm Sarah Marie Young. I am playing Roxy Hart in Chicago and ensemble.
Okay, my name's Aaron Brown. I'm playing Billy Flynn in the production of Chicago at the Players Guild Theater in Canton.
Micah Harvey, Mary Sunshine in Chicago.
Hardest part of being in the show is probably when it gets up and open, keeping the energy, the life in it, and not getting too comfortable so that things start to go weird or you forget things or you're just not on your A game because you think, oh, this is open, I've done it, I know how to do it now.
I think a lot of it is time commitment, and I think a lot of it is, you know, staying focused when you have so much on your plate and you have so much going on and so much to remember, and juggling learning lines and learning dances and knowing everything and being on top of your game, as well as like your normal everyday life, having a job, going to school, and balancing it all and not going crazy.
The hardest part of being in a show is, for me, it's balancing work life and then trying to switch that off and then go into a different character. And just throughout the course of a week, you're tired and you need to become somebody else, and that audience has never seen it for the first time, so you want to make sure you do a good job. So that's the hardest part for me.
There's a lot of hard factors of being in a show, like staying focused, getting into like doing your homework. Like it's said to be like do your homework, but it's like keeping up with your music, with your choreography. I think it's time, because like you don't really get to do anything else while you're doing your musical. Like it's more like you have to really buckle down and focus on your musical rather than like going out with friends or, you know, staying out late. So I think it's time.
The hardest part of being in a show is, I think just the time commitment. I think the just understanding where, just scheduling basically, just how to just. You're in rehearsals a lot, and so it's just a big time commitment. That's all, but it's fun.
I'd probably say the waiting in between rehearsing. Do you want me talking this way or
Doesn't matter.
anyway?
Any way you want to. Here, I'll do this.
Oh, perfect. I'd probably say the waiting in between rehearsing. That's probably, at least for me, the hardest part. Some people, like, it's the memorizing. For me, it's just having patience and letting other people practice their scenes, their songs or dances, while you're sitting there for sometimes hours just staring straight ahead, and you wonder, what am I doing? So that's probably, like, for me, the hardest part. Everything else after that, like, once you get an audience, that's the easy part.
Yes, I would say theater does help me recognize, excuse me, my full potential, oftentimes by showing me where I need growth, whether it's the places where I'm lax in my own discipline or the places where I am like characters in ways I wish I was not like them. So I think it's definitely a stimulus for self-improvement.
I think it's hard as a theater artist to not be very like hypercritical of yourself, because you're kind of on display all the time. But I think for the most part, it helps me. It encourages me to realize that I have a bigger potential than sometimes I even see in myself.
Oh, without question. People use it. I've used it to learn about myself by being other people. You learn how you cope with different things in life, different circumstances, from that aspect, and then to being, it's a release for a lot of people, where they can escape their life for a little bit and be a part and be somebody else. I think that theater's been really good for me because it has developed a lot of confidence in being able to be present in front of people and interact with people.
Ooh, it definitely encourages and recognizes my full potential. It's a way to, well, first off, breathing life into a character really helps you with your own character as a person, and so it encourages that. It encourages your own character to kind of fully develop, and also just being on stage and performing is a big ego boost. It scoops up the morale real well, and it definitely encourages some positivity. So
That's like 50-50. There are times that I'm like, wow, I really can't do this. Like, all these people are 100 times better than me. Like, specifically with Chicago, like, I've never been a trained dancer, and like everybody in this cast is like hella good at dancing, like trained, you know, you can do most of them. And then like me, like, I haven't really done anything. So, but after a while I was like, man, I can dance just as well as the rest of them. And I was like, this is fine. Like, I can do it. Like, I can fend for my own. Like, there are times when I'm like, wow, what am I doing here? And then there are times when I'm like, I can do this. This is fine.
I think theater makes me recognize my flaws. I think is what it does. Because when you're in front of other people, all your insecurities are just kind of pushed out there. And everyone gets to look at them and judge them accordingly. So it's very intense sometimes. I think it definitely will push confidence. So I think that's the biggest thing it pushes, you know. It forces you to be comfortable with who you are. Because if you're not comfortable with who you are, then no one's going to enjoy their performance. No one's going to feel like they got their money's worth in their ticket.
Yes, I think I have. There's been a couple times where doing shows that have important, relevant themes, even if they're done imperfectly and they still have flaws, but it still impacted somebody and still helped somebody see something in a new way. I think it's definitely happened before.
Yes. Like 90% of the reason I do theater is the testimonies and the things that I hear from people who come up to me after shows and say, hey, I just want you to know that, like, I went through that exact same thing, and like your story really hit home to me, and like thank you just so much for giving me something that is relatable and powerful. And I think that theater can speak to anyone in any walk of life, any story. It always like finds a way to reach the people that it needs to reach, and I think that that is so special.
Depending on the show. In a show like this, everyone really doesn't like me at the ends because I'm an arrogant guy, and there's not a lot of gratification from this character. But I have done roles that I have had people come up. I did a one-man show called RFK. It was Bobby Kennedy. And to be able to recapture that for a lot of people, and being able to tell his story, it brought a lot of emotion out for people. And in their moment, it did change. It even helped some of these folks that have been holding on to that for 40 years. It helped them heal. So yes, it can have that power.
Well, I did play the understudy for Belle in Christmas Carol, and one of the songs she sings, she talks about how young Ebenezer is like, he's so obsessed with money and stuff that he doesn't notice her or love her the way that she needs him to love her. And I know for a lot of people, like, they've heard of that before, like, oh, he didn't love her the way that he promised to love her, or he's just not all that he was cut out to be. I don't know if that really like taught the audience something, but I'm sure that it like got the point across to people rather than like, oh, that's a cute song.
I don't know if the world, but occasionally you lock eyes with one person, and something will really touch that one person in the audience. So if like a 400 seat audience is watching a show, one person might take something away from that. So you might not change the world, but you could change that person's world, and completely change who they were going to become just by changing maybe something that they think or changing how they feel about their day. I think it was during Christmas Carol, there was a guy who came up to me saying that his father had just passed away and he was on like having foreclosure in his home, and seeing this and having some inspiration of what mankind is supposed to do completely like rejuvenated his spirit. And so I think he said he was going to go move in with some family and try all over again. So even if that one person's life now is going to be different, that's pretty exciting.
You know, I don't know about changing the world, but I definitely think I've changed some hearts or some individuals. I guess that can contribute to the world in some way, but for me, it's a small, meek couple of people in a theater, and that's fine with me.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh.
That's the whole thing.
Wonderful. All right. So, like, I think the biggest thing of everything, as I am standing here in a wig with boobs, that is to just not care, because no one got time to listen to what everyone else thinks. There's too many wrong opinions out there to let everyone's opinion affect you, which it still affects me. Hearing someone say, oh, I didn't like this or didn't like that, like, it still affects me deep, and it's hard to kind of shut that out. But you need to learn to just not care what they're doing and do whatever you do because you love to do it. And eventually it won't matter what you're playing. You can go be a hamster on stage and it won't matter. You can crawl around on all fours. Doesn't mean anything. You can just have zits covering your face. You can make someone eat bread out of your mouth, which I have done on stage. That's neither here nor there. But eventually you just learn that everyone also wants a release. So if you can make anyone smile, that's what they really want. It's just to be happy for a second and not judge you. They want to support you. Everyone wants to support each other whether they realize it or not.
Awesome. That was amazing.